Here with Ice Hogs forward Ryder Rolston ahead of tonight's home opener against the Chicago Wolves. And Ryder, let's start last week. You made your AHL debut, a couple games in San Jose out in California. How'd you feel out there in the first two?
Yeah, it felt good. Obviously, making the jump here to pro hockey, it's nice to get the first two games, off your back. But besides that, it was a great weekend. Obviously, I thought the boys played well. Obviously, going out to San Jose was nice to get a road trip first. I think being able to go out there and do a little team bonding and be together for a good 5 days helped a lot as well. So I had a great time for sure.
Well, and you not just get the first couple games out of the way, get the first goal out of the way as well. Is that a pretty good feeling, already having one in your pocket heading into this next weekend?
Yeah, that one felt good for sure. I think now I can relax a little bit and just play, but it was nice to see that one going for sure.
We got a whole bunch of days off for you guys, a bunch of practice days in between last weekend and then the home opener here tonight. Does it bring you back to your college days a little bit in the way the schedule's shaking up?
Yeah, I was going to say it's pretty similar to what we went through in college, so nothing too different for me. But obviously after a road trip, guys are going to be a little banged up, so we got a little bit of time off there. I think everybody's kind of chomping at the bit to play at home here in front of our fans, so we're super excited.
Speaking of college, your former Golden Domer out of Notre Dame, how do you think your game that you developed in the last few seasons in South Bend translates to the AHL and to the pro style?
Yeah, I think, we played a pro style in South Bend. Obviously, a big thing that I wanted to work on going into South Bend was becoming a good 200-foot player, and I think I got just that, being able to play on both sides of the puck as well as, be in the weight room, develop my body. It really, helped me, make the jump to pro hockey here, and I think, that's something that's going to give me success at this level.
We had you here at the end of last season for a couple weeks. You were rehabbing that collarbone after your junior season at Notre Dame. Are you glad for those couple weeks? I know you didn't get in any games or anything, but at least you know where the dressing room is and all that stuff. Has that made an impact on the start of your season?
Yeah, I think it was honestly paramount me coming in. I was happy that, I was able to do that. Obviously, I built a relationship with the coaching staff, the guys, when I came in this year, it almost felt like I was, here last year, for a full year because I knew the guys, I knew how everything was operated around here, and I think it just made the transition pretty seamless. It was, I felt like home right away here. I think that's something that, I've really enjoyed here is you have that homey feel here. All the guys, they accept you as one of their own very quickly, and I think that's something that's going to give us success and obviously something that I got to be a part of last year going into this year, so it helped for sure.
What has it been like going up against older guys? Obviously in college and juniors, you play against a couple guys that are, a couple years older than you, but here in pro and in your first weekend, you're going up against guys that are 4, 5, and 6 years your senior. So what is that like going up against guys who have quite a few years on you in the pro experience department? Yeah,
obviously, there's going to be guys that are a little bit heavier, a little bit more strong, but at the end of the day, you're just going out there, you're playing your game. It's nothing too different than, what I've dealt with in the past. And I think, being able to come to the rink every day and, just understand that I'm ready to play pro hockey and make an impact, it doesn't really change too much to what I'm doing on the ice. So I don't think that that's really, been in my mind or anything like that. I've just kind of gone out and played my game, and that's kind of been my mindset from the onset.
Coach Sorensen put you together with a couple other rookies that first weekend as well. Antti Sorella and Jalen Leipin also making their pro debuts in San Jose. What was it like playing with a couple other young guys?
Yeah, it was great. I think all of us play a similar style. We're all good skaters. We're all pretty tenacious on the forecheck, and I think that was pretty evident. We were able to get our scoring chances off the forecheck, but, also just be hard to play against with our speed. And I think, being able to spend time with them in the rookie tournament, training camp up in Chicago, just helped us kind of build chemistry right from, getting into Chicago at the start of the season. So I think, being able to ride that into the weekend in San Jose helped a little bit. And, now obviously, like you said, we're getting a lot of practices under our belt early on, and that's helped as well. So I think we're building chemistry, and I think all of us kind of read off each other pretty well.
In this last week of practice for you guys, now that you have some data, some feedback from this past weekend, what's been the focus for you specifically, but maybe also for some of the young guys as a whole coming into this next weekend in the regular season?
Yeah, there's obviously not too much you want to be thinking about out on the ice, but like you said, getting that first weekend under our belt was huge because now you just play. You understand, you know what to expect out there, the style of play, the guys you're going against. So now it's just almost taking a deep breath, finding your groove now, knowing, that you've already played and now you can just kind of be your own player. I think that's been good for us. And obviously, like you said, being an all-rookie line, taking, those lessons from the first weekend and then applying it into practice this week going in tomorrow night, I think we're in a really good spot.
We're expecting a sold-out crowd here tonight at the BMO Center or something like it. It's going to be a pretty ruckus environment. I'm curious, what's the craziest environment that you've ever played in?
I've played in quite a few, dating back to my USHL days in college. We had a very good fan base in South Bend. I always enjoyed playing at home, but besides that, I think playing against Michigan at Michigan and Penn State, those were the two pretty rowdy crowds, so I'll go with those two.
Is that a whiteout in Penn State when you guys were playing there?
Yeah, we played them in the Penn State whiteout. That was probably the coolest crowd I've ever played in front of.
Okay, well, hopefully it's another good one for you here tonight at the BMO. We wish you the best of luck tonight and the rest of the year. Thanks, Ryder.
Thanks, Mike.